Here in rural Hampshire, some of the greatest literary works of our time were written.
This week we celebrate Jane Austen, a writer who, despite living a quiet, unassuming life here, went on to become one of the most recognised novelists in the world.
200 years after her death, I'll be finding out more about her personal faith, visiting Jane's final resting place, Winchester Cathedral, and discovering why this vicar's daughter didn't always portray the clergy in a flattering light.
Would you do me the great honour of walking with me into town?
I'll be meeting a high society girl who gave up a life of luxury to become a nun.
And Josie's in Bristol to find out how this choir is helping to beat the effects of addiction through song.
We have some great music for you, including a hymn from this magnificent cathedral in Winchester. And we begin with a joyous worship song written and led by Keith and Christine Getty.
In 1809, at the age of 33, Jane Austen moved here to the picturesque village of Chawton in Hampshire with her sister and their mother.
It's exciting to think that it was here Jane Austen created some of her most dashing heroes, dastardly rogues and memorable clergymen, and where she first became a published author.
She wrote 6 novels, of which Pride and Prejudice is perhaps her most famous and has inspired many film and television dramas.
Mr. Dawes?
Miss Bennet.
The house is now a museum, and I'm here to meet Austen expert Helena Kelly and curator Mary Guyett.
We're standing in the drawing room, and this is the room where Jane would have spent many hours with her sister and her mother.
And writing?
And writing, yes. In fact, we have her writing table.
Wow, that's tiny, isn't it?
It's very small.
it seems quite a grand house. What level of society were the Austens?
Well, Jane was born into a middle-class family. This was the gentry, the emerging middle classes. So her father was a clergyman and two of her brothers.
So she was surrounded in her family by clergymen. And in front of us here we've got a few Bibles. Are these family Bibles?
This larger Bible belonged to the church, St Nicholas's Church in Steventon, where her father was a clergyman.
And what about this teeny tiny one here?
Well, this is a family Bible. This was published in 1628. It's in Greek, it's a New Testament, and you can see that it has an Austen name, 1711.
So passed down through the generations.
Precisely.
What sort of Christian do you think she was?
Well, we know from her letters that she was an active person, that she visited the sick and that she gave alms. So I think she took her responsibilities seriously and with a practical mind.
Despite religion being an integral part of Jane's upbringing, she didn't always portray the clergy in the best light.
I believe I possess the happy knack, much to be desired in a clergyman, of adapting myself to every kind of society, whether high or low.
The Reverend Mr. Collins in Pride and Prejudice is really just bumbling and obsequious and absurd. They don't, all of them seem to spend very much time sort of looking after their parishioners, writing their sermons. So there's a strange disconnect, I think, between the depiction in the books and perhaps how she felt about religion herself.
In Emma, the clergyman, Mr. Elton, is at times a flirty gossip.
I hope that you, like myself, have been urging Miss Woodhouse not to go within half a mile of Goddard's when there is the chance of catching an infection.
But he does have redeeming characteristics.
Even he is shown actually being very active in parish work. But I mean, all her characters are very kind of nuanced, so they all have faults and they all have kind of journeys of learning that they need to make.
Do you think because she was surrounded by clergymen, she was able to be candid about what she really thought?
I think that's exactly it. She had the licence of knowing a religious family, and that gave her the permission to write critically.
Our next hymn comes from somewhere that Jane may well have visited here in Hampshire, Romsey Abbey. It was written by a female hymn writer, Caroline Knoll, and I'm certain Jane Austen would have approved of that.